Speak your truth clearly. Destroy every problem in your life. Audiobook. Reading by Coleman Hudson. Published by A1 Audiobook. Introduction. Read this first. Your life depends on it. Picture this. You're sitting in a conference room. The air is thick with the smell of stale coffee and ambition. Your boss, a formidable woman named Sharon, is wrapping up a presentation about the new quarterly strategy. It's fine, but it's flawed. You see the hole in it. You see it so clearly it's like a gaping chasm right in the middle of her PowerPoint slide. And you have the solution. Not just a vague idea, but a fully formed, brilliant, elegant solution that could save the company millions, streamline the entire project, and make your whole team look like rock stars. It's right there, sitting on the tip of your tongue, buzzing with an electric urgency. Your heart starts to pound, a frantic drum against your ribs. Your palms get slick. You can feel a bead of sweat tracing a path down your temple. You lean forward in your chair, your body wanting to act, even as your mind screams in protest. You open your mouth, just a fraction, but the words don't come out. A voice in your head, that familiar, treacherous whisper, starts its monologue. It's a voice you know better than your own. Don't. They'll think you're arrogant for questioning the boss. What if you're wrong? What if you miss something? You'll look like a complete idiot. Sharon worked hard on this. She'll be angry you're challenging her in front of everyone. Just keep your head down. Rocking the boat is how you get thrown overboard. It's safer to stay quiet. The internal debate rages for only a few seconds, but it feels like an eternity. In that moment of hesitation, your colleague, Austin, speaks up. He voices a minor concern, not nearly as insightful as yours, not even close to a solution, but it's something. It breaks the silence. The room's attention pivots to him. Sharon engages with his point. The conversation moves on. The moment is gone. You shrink back into your chair, the physical tension deflating into a heavy, sinking feeling in your gut. Your brilliant idea, once so clear and powerful, dissolves into a bitter pool of regret. For the rest of the meeting, you're just a ghost in a chair. For the rest of the day, you replay the scene in your mind, kicking yourself for your cowardice. You just lost. And you didn't just lose a chance to look good. You lost an opportunity, you lost a piece of your own self-respect, and you allowed a problem to continue existing when you held the key to its destruction. The problem defined, the silent prison we build for ourselves. That feeling, that knot of regret, frustration, and powerlessness, that is the single most destructive force in your life. It's not your boss, your finances, your partner, or your bad luck. It is the gap between what you know to be true and what you have the courage to say. It's the chasm between the person you are on the inside and the person you allow the world to see. We live our lives inside a self-made prison of silence, and most of us don't even realize we're the ones who built the walls and locked the door. We stay quiet when a family member makes a hurtful comment at Thanksgiving because we don't want to cause a scene. We nod along when a doctor explains a complex medical procedure we don't understand because we don't want to seem stupid. We say, "It's fine," to our partner when our heart is breaking, because we're terrified of the conflict our real feelings might unleash. We accept the first salary we're offered for a new job because we're too scared to negotiate for what we're actually worth. Each time we do this, we add another brick to the wall. Each silence is a surrender. The tagline of this book is, "Destroy every problem in your life." That sounds like an impossible exaggeration, right? The kind of snake oil promise you'd see on a late-night infomercial. It's not. Think about any major problem you're facing right now. I mean it. Pause and think of one. Is your career stagnating? That's a problem rooted in not clearly and consistently articulating your value, your accomplishments, and your ambitions. It's a problem of not asking for the projects, the promotion, the raise you deserve. Is an important relationship leaving you feeling empty or resentful? That's a problem rooted in not clearly communicating your needs, your fears, and your boundaries. Are you overwhelmed with stress and burnout? That's a problem rooted in not having the ability to say a firm, guilt-free no to the demands that drain your time and energy. Do you struggle with a feeling of low self-worth? That feeling isn't born in a vacuum. It's the result of 1,000 tiny moments of silencing your own truth, of teaching yourself again and again that your voice, your opinions, and your needs don't matter. Every one of these issues, the big, painful, life-defining ones, is rooted in a failure to communicate effectively. Your inability to speak your truth clearly and confidently is the invisible enemy behind every battle you lose, every opportunity you miss, and every ounce of resentment you carry. The promise, the power of a clear voice. Now, I want you to imagine a different reality. Imagine walking into that same meeting. You've had the same stale coffee, you're sitting in the same chair. Sharon finishes her presentation. You feel the same jolt of insight, the same brilliant solution popping into your head. Your heart rate quickens, but this time it's not anxiety. It's anticipation. The fear whisper starts, but it's fainter now. You've learned to recognize it not as a commander, but as a faulty alarm system. When Sharon asks for questions, you don't hesitate. You take a calm breath, sit up straight, and you speak. Your voice is not loud or aggressive. It is steady, measured, and clear. Sharon, that's a great framework. You begin making eye contact. I have an idea that might build on that and address the potential supply chain issue in Q3. All heads turn to you. There is no judgment in their eyes, only curiosity. You lay out your idea not with arrogance, but with quiet, unshakable confidence. You're not attacking her idea. You're reinforcing it. You're not showing off. You're solving a problem for the team. There's a moment of silence when you finish, the kind of silence that means people are actually thinking. Then, a nod from Sharon, a genuine, impressed nod. "Tell me more," she says. In that moment, you didn't just share an idea. You reshaped your reality. You gained respect. You solved a problem. You took control of your own career. You walked out of that room taller than you walked in. This book is your weapon and your training manual for that transformation. This is not another flimsy, be more confident guide full of empty platitudes. It is a precise, step-by-step system for rewiring the way you think, feel, and most importantly, speak. You will learn not just what to say, but how to say it. You will learn how to make your voice match your inner strength, how to command a room without shouting, and how to turn terrifying confrontations into simple, productive conversations. By the time you finish the last chapter of this book, you will have the practical, real-world tools to walk into your boss's office and negotiate a significant salary increase with unshakable confidence. Set firm, healthy boundaries with pushy family and friends without feeling an ounce of guilt. Resolve conflicts with your partner in a way that actually brings you closer instead of driving you apart. Articulate your ideas so compellingly in any setting, from a PTA meeting to a boardroom, that people have no choice but to listen. Walk through the world with a profound sense of peace and integrity because the person you are on the inside finally matches the person you present to the world. You will learn to destroy your problems at their source before they have a chance to grow. Your roadmap to a clear life. I'm not going to lie to you. This journey requires courage and work, but it is not complicated. The path is clear, and I will walk it with you every step of the way. This book is broken down into 12 distinct, actionable chapters. We start inside, forging the foundation of your truth so you know what you stand for. Then we build the mechanical skills of communication, your words, your tone, your body language, so you have the tools for the job. Finally, we take those tools and apply them to the most challenging arenas of your life, your career, your relationships, and your most feared conversations. There are no shortcuts here. Every chapter builds directly on the one before it, so I ask you for a commitment. Do not skip a chapter. Do not skim. The person who started this introduction is not the person who will finish the final page, but only if you give this process the focus it deserves. Read every word. Do every exercise. Your future self, the one who is respected, confident, and in control of their life, is counting on it. The silence has cost you enough. It's time to find your voice. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The High Cost of Silence. Identifying your silent prison. Silence is not golden. It's rust. It's a slow, creeping corrosion that eats away at the steel of your relationships, the structure of your career, and the foundation of your self-worth. It looks harmless, passive, even polite, but it is the most destructive, active force in your life. Every time you swallow your words, you are not avoiding a problem, you are feeding one. You are giving it space, nourishment, and time to grow in the dark. The unspoken resentment, the unvoiced need, the unasked question, they don't just disappear. They fester. They metastasize into bitterness, anxiety, and regret. In the introduction, we talked about the big picture. Now we're going to get specific. We're going to turn on the lights and look at the real-world damage this rust, this silence, is doing in your life. The cost is far higher than you think. Let's look at two people, and I want you to see if you recognize any part of your own story in theirs. Caleb's $2,000 grudge. Caleb is a good brother. When his younger brother Curtis was in a tight spot 2 years ago, Caleb loaned him $2,000 without hesitation. "Pay me back whenever you can, man. No rush," he said. Curtis was grateful, and for a few months, everything was fine. Then Caleb saw a picture on social media. Curtis and his girlfriend on a weekend trip to a fancy resort. A few weeks later, Curtis mentioned he was getting a new sound system for his car. Meanwhile, Caleb was trying to patch together enough money to fix a leak in his own roof. Every time they spoke, the $2,000 sat in the middle of the conversation like a ghost. Caleb wanted to say something. He needed to say something. But the whisper started. "Don't make it weird. He's your brother. He said he'd pay you back. Don't you trust him? You said no rush. You'll look like a jerk if you bring it up now." So Caleb said nothing. But his silence wasn't empty. It was filled with a story he told himself over and over. "Curtis doesn't respect me. He thinks I'm a doormat. He took my generosity and spat in my face." The silence became a wall. Their phone calls became shorter, more superficial. When they saw each other at family gatherings, there was a tension, an awkwardness that was never there before. What is the cost of Caleb's silence? It's not just the $2,000. He may or may not ever see that money again. The real cost is his relationship with his brother. He has traded it for a simmering cauldron of resentment. He chose silence to avoid a single, uncomfortable 5-minute conversation, and in doing so, he sentenced his relationship to a slow, painful death. The problem isn't the money anymore. The problem is the rust. Brooke's invisible wallflower career. Brooke is an exceptionally talented graphic designer. She is meticulous, creative, and always delivers her work ahead of schedule. She believes in a simple, noble code. My work should speak for itself. She keeps her head down, works hard, and assumes that the people in charge will notice and reward her. Last year, a management position opened up on her team, a role she secretly dreamed of. It was the natural next step, a perfect fit for her skills and experience. She knew she could do the job better than anyone, but she never told anyone she wanted it. When her boss mentioned the opening in a team meeting, Brooke stayed silent, hoping her interest was obvious. When she had one-on-one meetings, she talked about her projects, but never about her career goals. She didn't want to seem pushy or overly ambitious. A month later, the promotion was given to her colleague Austin, the same one from our introduction. Austin was a decent designer, but less experienced. What he did have, however, was a voice. He had told his boss explicitly 3 months earlier that he was aiming for a leadership role. He regularly spoke up in meetings to share his ideas for improving team workflow. He made sure his ambitions were known. When Brooke finally got the courage to ask her boss why she was passed over, her boss looked genuinely surprised. "Honestly, Brooke, I didn't even know you were interested. You always seem so content in your current role. Austin made it clear he was hungry for it." What is the cost of Brooke's silence? A promotion? A higher salary? A chance to lead? But more than that, the silence inflicted a deep wound on her self-worth. The story she told herself was not, "I failed to communicate my goals." The story was, "They don't see me. I'm not good enough. My hard work means nothing." She built her own prison of invisibility, then blamed the world for not being able to see her through the walls. Your turn. The cost of silence audit. Do those stories feel familiar? Where is Caleb's resentment living in your life? Where is Brooke's missed opportunity haunting you? It's time to stop guessing. It's time to do an audit. This isn't about shaming yourself. It's about creating a clear, honest diagnostic of your life. It's about identifying the source of the rust so you know where to start cleaning. I want you to take out a real sheet of paper and a pen, not a note on your phone. The physical act of writing is important. It makes it real. Draw a large cross in the middle of the paper to divide the paper into 4 quadrants. Label the 4 sections: 1, work career; 2, family; 3, relationships, partner, friends; 4, self, your relationship with yourself. Now, in each of these 4 quadrants, I want you to honestly answer 3 questions. Be as specific as you can. What am I not saying? Example, I'm not telling my boss I deserve a raise. I'm not telling my mother that her constant criticism of my choices hurts me. I'm not telling my partner I feel lonely. What am I afraid will happen if I say it? My boss will think I'm greedy and fire me. My mom will cry and say I'm ungrateful. My partner will get defensive and we'll have a huge fight. What is the current cost of my silence? This is the most important question. Be ruthless. Cost: I'm underpaid by at least $15,000 a year, and I feel resentful and unmotivated at work. Cost: every phone call with my mom fills me with dread and leaves me feeling small. Cost: we haven't been truly intimate in months, and the distance between us is growing. To help you, here is a simplified example of what this might look like for a person named Alex. Work career. Not saying, a client hasn't paid a $1,200 invoice from 60 days ago. Afraid of, they'll get angry and stop using my services. Cost of silence, I'm out $1,200. I feel like a pushover. I'm anxious about my finances. Family. Not saying, I don't want to host Thanksgiving this year. It's too stressful and expensive. Afraid of, my whole family will be disappointed. My sister will say I'm selfish. Cost of silence, I'm already stressed just thinking about it. I'll spend money I don't have and resent my family for the whole holiday. Relationships, partner, friends. Not saying, I need my partner to help more with the household chores. I feel like I'm doing everything. Afraid of, they'll say I'm nagging. It will start a fight about who does more. Cost of silence, I feel more like a maid than a partner. I'm exhausted and feel a growing resentment toward the person I love. Self, not saying to myself, I need to stop saying yes to every social invitation. I'm exhausted.
Afraid of, my friends will think I'm boring or that I don't like them anymore. FOMO, fear of missing out. Cost of silence, I have no time for myself. I'm constantly tired, irritable, and my physical and mental health are suffering. Now it's your turn. Pause your reading. Take the next 10 minutes and do this exercise. Be brutally honest. No one is going to see this but you. This is your personal map of the prison. Welcome back. Look at your paper. This is not just a list of problems. This is the damage report. This is the evidence. The anxiety you feel, the frustration that keeps you up at night, the feeling of being stuck, it is not random. It is not just the way things are. It has a source. The source is right there on that page, in the gap between what you need to say and what you've been willing to say. Looking at this map might feel overwhelming. It might feel painful. That's good. It means you're finally being honest. For the first time, you are looking at the true, devastatingly high cost of your silence. You have now mapped the prison. You've walked the perimeter and seen the walls for what they are. This awareness by itself is a powerful first step, but it's not enough. You don't have to live here anymore. In the next chapter, we are going to forge the key to unlock the door. Before you can speak your truth, you have to know with unshakable certainty what that truth is. We're going to build your inner compass.
Chapter 2. What is your truth? Forging your inner compass. So you have your map from Chapter 1. You've looked at the real, tangible costs of your silence, and it's probably a sobering sight. A natural question should be forming in your mind. Why is it so hard to say these things? Why do I swallow my words when I know it's hurting me? The answer is simpler and more profound than you think. You often stay silent because deep down, you're not 100% sure you have the right to speak. You hesitate because your conviction is shaky. You're operating with a borrowed map, trying to navigate the terrain of your life using directions drawn by someone else. Your parents, your boss, your culture, that nagging voice of societal expectation. You've been told what a good employee, a nice person, a supportive partner, or a dutiful child is supposed to do and say. When your truth conflicts with that borrowed map, you assume your truth is wrong. You second-guess it, dilute it, or discard it completely. You can't speak your truth with clarity and power if you suspect it might be illegitimate. This chapter is where we fix that. This is not about positive thinking or faking it till you make it. This is about doing the foundational work to build an unshakable internal guidance system. We're going to stop borrowing maps and forge your own compass. An external compass always points to a fixed, reliable location, true north. Your inner compass must do the same. Its true north is your truth, a core set of values and needs so fundamental to who you are that they are non-negotiable. Once you define this, you will no longer be navigating by guesswork. You will have a fixed point to guide every decision, every conversation, and every yes or no. The anatomy of your truth. My truth can sound like a vague New Age concept. It's not. For our purposes, your truth consists of two distinct practical components. Your core values. These are the big single-word concepts that define what matters most to you at a fundamental level. They are the bedrock of your character. Think of words like honesty, freedom, security, growth, compassion, fairness, achievement, creativity, stability, adventure. These are your personal constitution. Your non-negotiable needs. These are the practical, real-world conditions you must have in your life to honor your values. They are the specific, observable actions and boundaries that allow you to feel respected, safe, and whole. Needs are the laws derived from your constitution. Let me make this crystal clear. A value is abstract. A need is actionable. If you value security, you might have a need for a 6-month emergency fund in the bank. If you value connection, you might have a need for a weekly dedicated date night with your partner. If you value health, you might have a need for 8 hours of sleep and the time to exercise 3 times a week. You cannot speak your truth until you can clearly articulate both your values and the needs that stem from them. When you can say, I need X because I value Y, your request is no longer a complaint or a whim. It is a statement of integrity. It is grounded in the very core of who you are. The workshop, excavating your values. Most of us have never consciously defined our values. We just have a vague sense of what feels right or wrong. Today, we make it conscious. We make it concrete. We're going to use two powerful methods to excavate your true values from the bedrock of your own life experience. Grab another sheet of paper. Method 1, the peak experience. I want you to think of a time in your life when you felt truly alive. A moment when you felt proud, engaged, and filled with a sense of profound rightness. It doesn't have to be a huge, life-changing event. It could be finishing a difficult project at work, running your first 5K, helping a friend move, or finally mastering a recipe. Choose one specific memory and write it down. Now, answer these questions about that experience. What were you doing? What about the situation made you feel so good? What strength were you using? What principle was being honored? Let's take an example. A woman named Brenda identifies her peak experience as the time she organized a successful charity drive in her neighborhood. What was she doing? Planning, coordinating with neighbors, solving logistical problems, communicating the goal. What felt good? Seeing everyone come together for a common cause. Achieving a difficult goal, making a real difference. What strength was she using? Leadership, organization, communication. What principle was being honored? Community, generosity, impact, achievement. Look at those bolded words. Those are her values, revealed through action. Your turn. Analyze your own peak experience. Write down at least 3 to 5 value words that it reveals about you. Method 2, the righteous anger. Now for the flip side. Negative emotions are just as powerful a clue as positive ones. Think of something that makes you truly angry. Not just annoyed, like when you're stuck in traffic. I mean righteously, deeply angry. A time you thought, that is just plain wrong. Maybe it was seeing someone bully a coworker. Maybe it was a politician lying. Maybe it was hearing about an injustice on the news. Maybe it was someone breaking a promise to you. Choose one specific trigger for your righteous anger. Write it down. Now ask the opposite questions. What specifically is happening that makes you so angry? What fundamental rule of life, in your opinion, is being broken? What value is being violated? Let's go back to Brenda. What makes her righteously angry? Seeing a manager at her old job take public credit for an idea that came from a junior employee. What's happening? Someone is stealing credit and deceiving others. What rule is being broken? People should get credit for their own work. Hard work should be recognized. What value is being violated? Fairness, honesty, integrity, justice. Your turn. Analyze your trigger for righteous anger. What violation is occurring? Write down at least 3 to 5 value words that your anger is defending. Forging the compass, your core 5. Look at the 2 lists you've created. You should now have a collection of 6 to 10 powerful value words, all pulled directly from your own life. These are not words you think you should value. They are words that you do value, proven by your own emotional responses. Now for the hardest part. You must choose your core 5. Your inner compass can't have 10 different norths. You need to know what matters most. Review your list. Consolidate words that are similar, e.g., honesty and integrity might become one. Then force yourself to circle the 5 that feel the most essential to your identity. The 5 that, if they were violated, would make you feel like you were betraying yourself. This is your true north. Write them down on a clean sheet of paper titled My Core Values. From values to needs, making your truth actionable. Your core 5 values are your why. Now we need to define your what. What do you need to do, have, or protect in your daily life to live by this code? Use this simple but powerful formula. Because I value, your core value, I need a specific, observable behavior or boundary.
Let's see how Brenda translates her core 5.
Let's say she chose health, integrity, community, fairness, and achievement. Because I value health, I need to stop working by 6 p.m. so I have time to cook a real meal and decompress. Because I value integrity, I need to be in a workplace where I can admit mistakes without fear of punishment. Because I value community, I need to have a non-negotiable phone-free dinner with my family 3 times a week. Because I value fairness, I need to know that chores in my home are divided equitably between my partner and me. Because I value achievement, I need to set and review personal goals every month, even small ones. Do you see how powerful this is? Her needs are no longer vague wants. They are the direct, logical expression of her core identity. They are defensible. They are her truth. Your final task: write your truth statement. This is the culmination of this chapter's work. On that same sheet of paper, below your core 5 values, I want you to write out at least 3 because I value blank, I need blank statements for your own life. Choose the ones that relate directly to the problems you identified in your cost of silence audit. My core values are blank, 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 and blank. To honor these values, my non-negotiable needs include: because I value blank, I need blank. Because I value blank, I need blank. Because I value blank, I need blank. Congratulations! You now hold a document of immense power. It is the key that was missing. It is the foundation for every word you will speak from this day forward. This is not just a self-help exercise. This is your personal declaration of independence. You now know, with certainty, what your truth is. You know what you stand for and what you need. You have forged your inner compass. But knowing your truth and speaking it are 2 different things. Standing at the edge of a dark forest with a map and a compass is one thing. Taking that first step into the woods where the monsters live is another. The biggest monster, the one that guards the forest, is fear. In the next chapter, we're going to face it, and we're going to tame it. Your compass is set. Now, let's learn how to navigate the storm. Chapter 3: The Fear Factor, Taming the Dragons of Judgment and Rejection. You have your compass, you've defined your values, and you know the needs that spring from them. You can look at the cost of silence audit you did and connect the dots. You know with intellectual clarity what you need to say to your boss, your brother, or your partner. So you take a deep breath, you march up to the door, you raise your hand to knock, and then it hits you. A wave of cold dread washes over you. Your heart, which was beating normally just a second ago, becomes a frantic drum pounding against your ribs. Your palms get slick with sweat, your throat tightens, and the brilliant, clear words you just rehearsed in your head evaporate into a fog of pure panic. The dragon has awakened. This is fear, and it feels ancient, powerful, and absolutely real. It's the gatekeeper that stands between you and a life of integrity. It's the reason your prison of silence has felt so inescapable. In this chapter, we are not going to ignore the dragon or try to tiptoe around it. We are going to look it straight in the eye, understand its nature, and learn how to tame it. Deconstructing the dragon: why fear feels so real. The first thing you must understand is that your fear is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that your brain is working perfectly. Your brain has a tiny almond-shaped region called the amygdala. Think of it as your own personal security guard, one that's been on the job for about 200,000 years. Its only mission is to keep you safe and alive. Back when our ancestors were roaming the savannah, this security guard was a superstar. It saw a shadow in the grass, saber-toothed tiger, and instantly flooded the body with adrenaline and cortisol. The heart pounded to pump blood to the muscles, breathing became shallow to take in more oxygen, and all non-essential functions, like digestion and rational thought, shut down. This was the fight or flight response, and it was brilliant for surviving immediate physical threats. Here's the problem. Your amygdala hasn't gotten a software update in a very long time. Today, the saber-toothed tiger is your boss's critical expression, a tense conversation with your spouse, or the possibility of being judged by a room full of people. The threat is social and emotional, not physical. But your ancient security guard can't tell the difference. It sees a threat and pulls the only alarm it has. Your fear is a smoke alarm going off for burnt toast. It's a real alarm. Your pounding heart is real, the adrenaline is real, but the danger is vastly overestimated. When you feel that wave of panic, the first step is to stop treating it as a prophecy of doom and start seeing it for what it is, a biological misfire, a glitch in the system. You are not in danger. You are just feeling the echo of an ancient survival mechanism. Acknowledging this is the first step to taking away the dragon's power. You are not taming a monster, you are calming down an overzealous security guard. The taming tools, managing fear in real time. Knowing your fears and overreaction is helpful, but it's not enough when your body is screaming at you to run. You need practical, in-the-moment tools to manage both the physical symptoms and the mental stories that fuel them. Tool number 1, tactical breathing, the physical tamer. When panic hits, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid, which only tells your brain, yep, the danger is real, panic harder. You can interrupt this feedback loop by taking conscious control of your breath. The technique used by Navy SEALs and SWAT teams to stay calm under fire is called box breathing or tactical breathing. It is absurdly simple and profoundly effective. It works like this. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 4. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 4. Repeat. That's it. Do this for just 4 or 5 cycles. You can do it while sitting at your desk before a big meeting, in the bathroom before a difficult conversation, or even in your car before walking into a family gathering. It sends a direct signal from your body back to your brain that says, all clear, no tigers here. It slows your heart rate, calms the nervous system, and allows the rational part of your brain to come back online. This is your fire extinguisher for the burnt toast alarm. Tool number 2, the fear-setting framework, the mental tamer. While your body is panicking, your mind is telling terrifying stories. This is the voice of the whisper we talked about in the introduction. To tame the dragon, you have to challenge its stories. The best way to do this is to drag them out into the light and dissect them. Take out another piece of paper. The next time you feel afraid to speak up about something, I want you to walk through this 3-step process. Let's use an example. Eleanor needs to tell her chronically late friend Chloe that it's not okay to show up 30 minutes late for every plan they make. Step 1, define the nightmare. Ask yourself, what is the absolute worst-case scenario if I speak my truth? Get specific. Don't just say, it will go badly. What does that look like? Eleanor's fear? Chloe will get furious, call me a bad friend, tell all our mutual friends that I'm uptight and controlling, and then she will end our friendship forever. I'll be alone. Step 2, engineer a fix. Now, look at that nightmare scenario. Ask yourself, if the worst-case scenario did happen, what could I do to repair the damage? Could I survive it? Eleanor's fix? If she got angry, I could stay calm and repeat my point. If she told our friends, I could talk to them myself and explain my side. If she ended the friendship, it would hurt terribly, but I would survive. I have other friends, and a friendship where I'm not respected isn't a healthy one anyway. Step 3. Calculate the true cost of inaction. Finally, shift your focus. Ask yourself, what is the cost of staying silent? What will my life look like in 6 months, 1 year, or 5 years if I let this continue? This connects back to your Chapter 1 audit. Eleanor's cost of inaction. If I say nothing, I will continue to waste my time waiting for her. I'll feel a surge of resentment every time we make plans. The friendship will feel like an obligation, not a joy. I'll feel like a doormat, and that feeling will spill over into other areas of my life. The friendship will likely die a slow, resentful death anyway, or I'll just ghost her, which is a cowardly way out. When you look at it this way, the choice becomes clear. The defined, survivable risk of speaking up is almost always less terrifying than the guaranteed, soul-crushing cost of long-term silence. Facing the twin dragons, judgment and rejection. All our fears of speaking up are really just variations of two core fears, the fear of being judged negatively and the fear of being rejected. Taming judgment, the spotlight fallacy. We walk through the world feeling as if there's a giant spotlight following us, illuminating our every move and mistake for a critical audience. This is a cognitive bias called the spotlight effect. The truth is, people are not thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. They are the main characters in their own movie. You are at best a supporting actor.
They're worried about their own mortgage, their weird rash, and what they're having for dinner. That colleague you're afraid to question, he's probably worried you'll notice he's wearing the same tie as last Tuesday. Realizing this is incredibly liberating. You have permission to be imperfect because nobody is watching that closely. Taming rejection. Rejection as redirection. What if rejection isn't a verdict, but a compass? What if hearing no isn't a final judgment on your worth, but simply a piece of data that tells you you're pointed in the wrong direction? If you ask for a raise and your boss says no without a path forward, that rejection is redirecting you toward a company that will value you. If you set a boundary with a friend and they reject it, that rejection is redirecting you toward healthier friendships. If you present an idea and it gets shot down, that rejection is redirecting you to refine your idea or present it to a more receptive audience. Rejection doesn't mean you are wrong. It often means the situation is wrong for you. It's a painful but necessary course correction. Seeing it this way turns it from a crushing blow into a helpful signpost. Practice round, the low-stakes dare. You don't learn to lift 300 pounds by starting with 300 pounds. You start with the empty bar. You need to build your courage muscle with small, low-risk reps. I call these the low-stakes dares. Your assignment before the next chapter is to complete at least one of these in the next 48 hours. The goal is simply to practice acting despite a small flicker of fear. The coffee dare. Order your coffee, then politely say, "Actually, could you make that with oat milk instead? I just changed my mind." The retail dare. When you're buying something, no matter how small, ask at the checkout, "Are there any discounts or coupons available for this today?" The answer doesn't matter. The asking is the win. The question dare. In any group setting, a work meeting, a class, even a dinner with friends, ask a clarifying question about something you genuinely don't understand. The compliment dare. Give a specific, genuine compliment to a stranger. "Excuse me, I just wanted to say that's a fantastic coat." Then walk away. These acts are small, but they are not insignificant. They teach your nervous system that you can act, speak, and survive the outcome. You are building proof that the dragon's roar is worse than its bite. You have now confronted the fear. You have a tool to calm your body and a framework to calm your mind. You've started to reframe judgment and rejection, not as threats, but as data. You are ready. Now that you can manage the fear, it's time to learn exactly what to say. In the next chapter, we will build the engine of this entire book, the 4-part formula for indisputable communication. Chapter 4, The Blueprint of Clarity, the 4-part formula for indisputable communication. Let's talk about how most difficult conversations go wrong. They are doomed from the very first sentence. We start with landmines. Words and phrases so loaded with accusation, judgment, and generalization that the other person immediately goes on the defensive. Their brain shuts down, their walls go up, and any chance of a productive conversation is lost. It sounds like this. "You always leave your dirty dishes in the sink. It's disgusting. You never listen to me. Your report was sloppy and unprofessional. You need to fix it.
You make me feel like I'm not important. Blame. When a person hears this, they don't hear your underlying need or your hurt feelings. They hear an attack. And when people are attacked, they do one of two things. They attack back or they shut down. Either way, your problem doesn't get solved. It gets worse. For decades, you have been trying to perform delicate surgery with a sledgehammer. It's no wonder you're left with a mess. Today, you get your scalpel. I'm going to give you a tool so simple and so powerful that it will fundamentally change the outcome of every difficult conversation you have for the rest of your life. It's a 4-part formula that strips away the blame and judgment, leaving only the clean, undeniable truth. It makes your position so clear and reasonable that it becomes almost impossible to argue with. I call it the clarity blueprint. This is the structure that will underlie everything you say from now on. You will use it to ask for a raise, to set a boundary with your mother, and to resolve a conflict with your partner. It works every time, in every situation. Memorize it. Internalize it. It is your key to being heard. Here are the 4 parts. The observation. When X happens, the feeling, I feel Y, the need, because I need Z, the request, would you be willing to A? That's it. That's the entire blueprint. Let's break down each component so you understand its power. Part 1, the observation, the indisputable fact. This is the most critical part. You must start with a neutral, objective observation of a specific behavior or event. Think of yourself as a security camera. What did you see? What did you hear? Report only the facts without any interpretation, judgment, or generalization. Words like always, never, constantly are now forbidden. Sledgehammer, bad. You're always so late. Blueprint, good. When you arrived 20 minutes after we agreed to meet for dinner, sledgehammer, bad. You interrupted me in that meeting. Blueprint, good. When I was in the middle of explaining the Q3 data and you began speaking, sledgehammer, bad. You left a mess in the kitchen again. Blueprint, good. When I came downstairs this morning and saw the dishes from last night on the counter, do you see the difference? The first version in each pair is an accusation that can be argued with. No, I'm not. I was on time last week. The second is an indisputable fact. It happened. It is not an attack. It is a shared starting point of reality. By starting here, you prevent the other person's defenses from immediately shooting up. Part 2, the feeling, your emotional truth. After stating the fact, you share the emotional impact it had on you. This is where you use an I statement. This is not about blame. You make me feel angry is blame. I feel angry is a statement of your internal reality. No one can argue with how you feel. It is your truth. Crucially, you need to state a real emotion, not a thought disguised as a feeling. Words like, I feel like you're ignoring me, or I feel that it's unfair, are not feelings. They are interpretations of the other person's motives. Stick to primary emotions. Instead of, I feel like you're ignoring me, say, I feel lonely, or I feel unimportant, or I feel frustrated. Blueprint in action. When I came downstairs this morning and saw the dishes from last night on the counter, I feel frustrated. This is radically different from yelling, "You're such a slob!" You are taking ownership of your emotional response, which makes you sound mature and in control, not accusatory. Part 3, the need, your why. This is the masterstroke. This is where you connect your feeling to a core value or a fundamental need. This elevates your statement from a petty complaint to a profound declaration of what you require to feel whole and respected. This is where you use the work you did in Chapter 2. The formula is simple: because I need or because I value. Blueprint in action. When I came downstairs this morning and saw the dishes from last night on the counter, I feel frustrated because I need our shared spaces to feel orderly and calm for me to relax. Look at that. You've just transformed a complaint about dishes into a conversation about creating a relaxing home environment. It's no longer about them being wrong. It's about you needing something to feel right. This gives the other person a powerful reason to help you. They aren't just doing a chore. They are contributing to your well-being. Part 4. The request, the actionable solution. You cannot stop at the need. You must end with a clear, specific, and actionable request. What do you want the other person to do? Your request must be positive, what you want them to do, not what you want them to stop doing, and it must be a genuine request, not a veiled demand. The magic phrase is, "Would you be willing to?" This phrase is powerful because it gives the other person a choice. It respects their autonomy. Even if you feel they have to do it, phrasing it this way turns a potential conflict into a collaboration. Sledgehammer, bad. So clean up after yourself. Blueprint, good. Would you be willing to put your dishes in the dishwasher right after you use them? Let's put the entire blueprint together. A character named Liam needs to talk to his roommate Drew about the messy kitchen. The sledgehammer approach. Drew, seriously, you always leave your crap everywhere. It's disgusting. Clean it up. Result? Drew gets defensive, calls Liam uptight, and the apartment is filled with tension for a week. The blueprint approach. Liam takes a deep breath and finds Drew when he's not busy. Hey Drew, got a minute? Number 1, observation. When I came down this morning and saw the dirty dishes on the counter. Number 2, feeling. I felt really frustrated and stressed. Number 3, need. That's because I need our kitchen to be clean for me to feel relaxed in our shared home. Number 4, request. Would you be willing to make sure your dishes get into the dishwasher before you go to bed at night? Which version do you think is more likely to work? The second version is almost hypnotic in its reasonability. It gives Drew all the information he needs to understand the problem without feeling attacked. He is far more likely to respond with, "Oh man, yeah, sorry about that. I'll make sure to do that," than with anger. The blueprint in the wild. Let's see it in 2 other common high-stakes scenarios. Scenario: a colleague, Kevin, keeps interrupting Maya in meetings.
Blueprint. Kevin, in the marketing meeting this morning, when I was sharing the survey results, I noticed you started speaking a few times before I finished my sentence. Afterwards, I felt flustered and a little discouraged. That's because I need to feel that my contributions are being fully heard by the team to do my best work. In future meetings, would you be willing to let me finish my point completely before you jump in? Scenario. Paige feels disconnected from her partner, Gregory, who's always on his phone. Hey, honey. Last night when we were sitting on the couch, I noticed you were scrolling on your phone for most of the hour. When that happens, I feel lonely and a bit sad. It's because I really value our time together, and I need to feel connected to you at the end of the day. Would you be willing to try having a no-phones hour with me from 8 to 9 p.m. each night? Your workshop. Build your first blueprint. I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds robotic. I can't talk like that. You're right. You can't talk like that yet. It's like learning the proper form for a deadlift. At first, it feels mechanical and unnatural. You have to consciously think about every single step. But with practice, the form becomes second nature. It smooths out. You make it your own. The blueprint is the underlying structure, not a word-for-word script you have to read from a card. So let's practice. Go back to your cost of silence audit from Chapter 1. Pick one problem, just one. Now use the 4-part formula to build your clarity blueprint statement for it. Write it down. Observation, when, what specific factual event occurred. Feeling, I feel, what is your genuine emotion. Need, because I need or value, what core need or value is at stake. Request, would you be willing to, What is your clear, positive, and actionable request? Don't worry about actually saying it yet. The goal right now is just to get comfortable with the formula. Translate your frustration into this clear, powerful, and indisputable language. You now possess the single most effective communication tool you will ever learn. It is the master key that unlocks productive conversation. But words are only part of the message. How you deliver them, your tone, your posture, your eye contact, can either amplify your message or sabotage it completely. In the next chapter, we'll make sure your body and your voice are in perfect alignment with your powerful new words.
Chapter 5. The Unspoken Truth. Mastering Body Language and Vocal Tone. You have the blueprint. It's a work of art, a perfectly engineered set of words designed to convey your truth with precision and power. But the most brilliant message in the world can be completely sabotaged if it's delivered in a weak container. Imagine being handed a beautifully wrapped gift box. The wrapping is crisp, the bow is perfect. You expect something valuable inside. Now imagine being handed that same valuable gift, but it's in a flimsy, torn, wet paper bag that looks like it was pulled from the trash. Do you feel the same way about what's inside? Of course not. You might even refuse to touch it. Your words are the gift. Your body language and your vocal tone are the box. You may have heard the statistic that 93% of communication is nonverbal. While that number is often taken out of context, the principle behind it is ironclad. When your words and your nonverbal cues are in conflict, people will always believe the nonverbals. If you say, "I'm confident about this proposal," but you're slumped over, avoiding eye contact, and fidgeting with a pen, nobody hears your confidence. They see, hear, and feel your terror. Your body betrayed your words. In this chapter, we are going to ensure your delivery, your container, is as strong and congruent as your message. We will sync your body and your voice with your truth, creating a unified signal of confidence that is impossible to ignore. Part 1. The Body's Broadcast. Speaking without words. Before you even open your mouth, you are sending a flood of information. People make snap judgments about your confidence, credibility, and authority based on how you hold and move your body. Right now, your broadcast might be signaling anxiety and apology. We're going to change the channel to one of calm, centered strength. 1. Grounded posture. Take your space. Powerlessness is a physical state. It looks like shrinking. People who feel weak try to take up as little space as possible. They hunch their shoulders, cross their arms, tuck their chin. Power, in contrast, is expansive. To stand, stand with your feet about shoulder width apart. Don't lock your knees. Imagine your feet have roots growing down into the floor, anchoring you to the earth. Now imagine a string attached to the crown of your head, gently pulling you upward. Your spine lengthens, your shoulders relax down and back, opening up your chest. This isn't a rigid military stance. It's an aligned, relaxed, and solid posture. To sit, sit with your back against the chair, feet flat on the floor. Avoid crossing your legs tightly or tucking your feet under the chair. Let your arms rest on the armrests or openly on the table. You are occupying your chair, not perching on it, ready to flee. 2. Open gestures. The hands of honesty. Your hands are powerful tools of expression. When you hide them, in your pockets, behind your back, it signals that you're nervous or have something to hide. When you use them effectively, they add emphasis and conviction to your words. The golden rule is to keep your gestures open. An open gesture is one where the palms are visible at least some of the time. This is a primal, subconscious signal of honesty and trustworthiness. I have no weapon. Practice speaking with your hands in your strike zone, the area between your waist and your collarbones. Your gestures should be purposeful, matching the rhythm of your speech, not frantic or distracting. 3. Steady eye contact, the bridge of connection. Avoiding eye contact is the fastest way to kill your credibility. It screams, "I'm scared," or "I'm lying." Conversely, staring without blinking is aggressive and creepy. The goal is confident, comfortable connection. In a one-on-one conversation, Aim to hold eye contact for 3 to 5 seconds at a time, then briefly glance away at their mouth, your notes, or just to the side to gather a thought before re-engaging. This makes it a rhythm, not a staring contest. In a group, make a point of connecting with each person for a few seconds, moving from one to another. You're not just talking to a room, you're talking to a collection of individuals. 4. Eliminate the noise. Stop leaking confidence. Fidgeting is a discharge of nervous energy. It's a tell, a signal that you're anxious. Every time you tap your foot, click your pen, play with your hair, or sway back and forth, you are distracting your listener and broadcasting your discomfort. The cure is awareness and purposeful stillness. Before you speak, find your neutral position, standing grounded or sitting tall, hands resting gently. When you feel the urge to fidget, simply bring your awareness back to your stillness and your breath. It's a form of meditation in action. The less you leak energy through nervous tics, the more powerful your actual message becomes. Part 2. The voice as an instrument. Hearing the truth. If your body is the visual broadcast, your voice is the audio. It's not just what you say, but how it sounds. You can have the most powerful posture in the world, but if your voice is thin, shaky, and quiet, your message dies. You have 3 primary levers to control your vocal instrument. 1. Pace, the power of the pause. When we are nervous, we speed up. We rush through our words as if to get the scary experience over with as quickly as possible. This makes you hard to follow and signals anxiety. The most powerful speakers talk more slowly than you think. A deliberate pace signals confidence and gives weight to your words. It also gives your listener time to process what you're saying. Your most powerful tool here is the strategic pause. A pause before you make a key point builds anticipation. A pause after you make a key point lets it land with impact. It also gives you a moment to breathe and think. Slow down, breathe, pause. 2. Pitch. Find your resonant tone. Anxiety tightens your vocal cords, leading to a higher, thinner, less credible pitch. Think of the stereotypical whiny voice. Authority and calm, conversely, are associated with a lower pitch. The goal isn't to fake a deep baritone voice. It's to speak from your natural, resonant center. Your most resonant voice comes from your chest, not your throat. Here's how to find it. The humming exercise. Put your hand on your chest. Now hum a low sound. Feel that vibration in your chest? That's your resonance. Now try to speak from that same slight vibration. Say, "Hello, my name is," aiming to feel that same slight vibration. This is your voice of calm authority. 3. Volume. Project. Don't shout. A weak message is often delivered too quietly. The speaker is literally apologizing for taking up auditory space. You must be heard clearly. This doesn't mean shouting, which is aggressive. It means projecting. Shouting comes from your throat. Projecting comes from your diaphragm, the muscle below your lungs. To feel it, put a hand on your belly. Breathe in so that your belly expands, not just your chest rising. Now, when you speak, feel like you are pushing the sound out from your belly, not your neck. It will create a fuller, richer sound that carries without straining your vocal cords. The workshop, the blueprint rehearsal. Theory is useless without practice. It's time to put all of this together. You are going to integrate your physical and vocal delivery with the clarity blueprint you wrote in the last chapter. You will need your phone. Record your before. Find a quiet place. Sit down however you normally would. Pull out the clarity blueprint statement you wrote, hit record on your phone's voice memo or video app, and say the statement. Don't think about it too much. Just say it. Save this recording. Get into state. Now, stand up. Do the grounding exercise. Feet shoulder-width apart, spine long, shoulders relaxed. Take 3 slow, deliberate cycles of box breathing. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. Feel your body calm down. Place your hand on your chest and hum for a moment to find your resonant pitch. Record your after. Start recording again. Look at a spot on the wall or into the camera lens as if it were a person. Deliver your clarity blueprint again, but this time consciously do the following. Speak 20% slower than you did the first time. Use at least 1 strategic pause before your request. Keep your body still, using 1 or 2 open hand gestures for emphasis. Speak from your chest voice, aiming for that calm, resonant tone. The comparison. Now listen to both recordings. The difference will be stunning. The first recording will likely sound rushed, thin, and hesitant. The second will sound calm, authoritative, and deeply convincing. This is not a different person speaking. This is you, with and without the proper container for your truth. You now have a complete personal toolkit. You have your compass, your truth, your fear-taming tools, your courage, your blueprint, your words, and your delivery system, your body and voice. You are fully equipped. Now it's time to leave the word shop and step into the real world. In the next chapter, we will apply this entire toolkit to one of the most important and challenging arenas of your life, your career.
Chapter 6. The Career Catalyst. Speaking Your Truth at Work. Now we enter the arena where the stakes feel highest. Your career is not just a job, it's your livelihood. It's the source of your financial security, a large part of your identity, and where you spend a third of your life. The fear of speaking up here is amplified 100-fold because it feels directly tied to your survival. Rock the boat and you might get thrown overboard. This is why so many brilliant, talented people like Brooke from Chapter 1 become invisible wallflowers at work. They operate under a dangerous and false assumption that being silent, agreeable, and accommodating is the safest path. It is not. Safety is an illusion. The silent path is the path to stagnation, resentment, and being perpetually undervalued. In the professional world, clarity is not aggression. It is a high-value asset. People who can articulate their ideas, define their value, and set clear boundaries are not seen as difficult. They are seen as leaders. They are respected. They are promoted. This chapter is your playbook for becoming one of those people. We will take the entire toolkit, your compass, your fear-taming tools, the clarity blueprint, and your nonverbal mastery, and apply it to the most terrifying and pivotal conversations of your career. Let's follow a software engineer named Devin. Devin is technically skilled, but professionally passive. He watches others get the exciting projects and the bigger raises. He's done the work from the previous chapters. He knows his core values, growth, fairness, achievement, and he's practiced the blueprint. Now, it's game time. Scenario 1. The ultimate test. Asking for a raise. This is the conversation most people dread above all others. It feels like a confrontation where you are begging for more. We're going to reframe this completely. You are not begging. You are conducting a business meeting to recalibrate your compensation so that it aligns with the value you provide. This is a 2-step process: preparation and conversation. Step 1. The preparation, building your case. You do not walk into this conversation with just feelings. You walk in with a portfolio of proof. Your primary tool here is what I call a brag sheet. It's a simple document where you will track your value. Your assignment is to create this document for your own career. It should have 3 sections. Your wins, list specific, quantifiable achievements since your last salary review, e.g., led the Project Apollo launch, which increased user engagement by 15%.
or streamlined the invoicing process, saving an estimated 10 hours of administrative work per month. Your praise. Copy and paste direct quotes from emails or performance reviews where managers or clients have praised your work, e.g., email from Sharon, October 12. Great work on the Q3 report, Devin. Your insights were a huge help. Your market value. Do your research. Use sites like Glassdoor, levels.fyi, or industry reports to find the average salary range for your role in your city with your level of experience. This document is your truth. It is the physical manifestation of your professional worth. Reviewing it before the meeting will crush the imposter syndrome that fuels your fear. You will bring a summary of this document into the meeting with you. Step 2, the conversation, executing the blueprint. Devin schedules a meeting with his manager, not with the vague subject, catch up, with the clear and professional discussion about my role and future growth. He's already won half the battle by framing it properly. He walks in and sits with a grounded posture. He has done his box breathing. He is calm. Here is the blueprint, word for word. The observation. Thank you for meeting with me. I'm really enjoying my work here, especially the recent launch of Project Apollo. I've been reviewing my contributions over the last year, and I see that I've successfully taken on more responsibility and delivered significant results, like the 15% increase in user engagement. Notice, he's not starting with a demand. He's starting with shared success and indisputable facts from his brag sheet. The feeling. I feel very proud of what I've accomplished and am more committed than ever to the team's success. He is stating a positive, confident emotion. He sounds like a partner, not an adversary. The need. Because I value my long-term growth with this company, I need to ensure that my compensation reflects both my current level of contribution and the market rate for my skills. This is the masterstroke. He has connected his request to a shared value, his long-term future at the company. He's signaling loyalty, not a threat to leave. The request. Based on my performance and the market data for this role, I am proposing a new salary of blank. Would you be willing to discuss how we can make that happen?
He asks for a specific number based on his research, not a vague more. The "would you be willing to discuss this" turns it into a collaborative problem-solving session, not a demand. This structure completely changes the dynamic. Devin is no longer a nervous employee asking for a handout. He is a strategic partner presenting a well-researched case for recalibration of his value. Scenario 2. The meeting. Claiming your voice. Remember the story from the introduction? The missed moment? Let's give Devin a second chance. He's in a meeting and his boss presents a flawed plan. The fear whisper starts, but this time, Devin is ready. He waits for the right moment. He makes eye contact with his boss. He uses a calm, steady vocal tone. He doesn't use the full, formal blueprint here, but its principles of non-accusation and collaboration are his guide. The sledgehammer approach. Old Devin. Silence. The catalyst approach. New Devin. Sharon, that's a strong framework. I like the emphasis on Q2. I have an idea that might build on that to make it even more robust. Bridge, not attack. I see a potential bottleneck with the vendor in Phase 3. Observation. What if we reallocated some of the initial budget to bring them into the planning process earlier? Collaborative suggestion. That could prevent the delays we saw last year. He didn't say, your plan is wrong. He said, here's how we can make this great plan even better. He identified a problem and immediately offered a solution, framing it as a way to help the team win. He just became a leader in the room. Scenario 3. The overload. How to say no to your boss. Devin's boss comes to him on a Friday afternoon with an urgent new project that needs to be done by Monday. Old Devin would have silently accepted, ruining his weekend and seething with resentment. New Devin sees this as a communication problem, not a catastrophe. Saying no to a boss is rarely about a flat refusal, it's about clarifying priorities and resources.
The sledgehammer approach, Old Devon. Okay, sure. Followed by a weekend of misery. The catalyst approach. He pauses, looks at his current task list, and turns back to his boss with a calm expression. Okay, I can definitely make that a priority. Agreement and validation. To make sure I do a great job on it, I'll need to put my other main task, finishing the analytics report, on the back burner. That means the report will likely be ready on Wednesday instead of Monday.
Is that trade-off okay with you? Or would you prefer I keep the report as the top priority? This is a genius move. He hasn't said no. He has said yes, and he has clearly articulated the consequences. He has turned a demand into a choice and given the power back to his manager. He is no longer a victim of circumstance. He is a manager of his own workload. 9 times out of 10, a manager will appreciate this clarity and make a clear choice. Your work is not a place to be silent. It is the primary training ground for turning your truth into tangible value. Every meeting is a chance to practice. Every negotiation is a chance to define your worth. Every interaction is a chance to build your reputation as someone who is not just competent, but clear, confident, and effective. You have the tools. You have the scripts. You have seen how to apply them. You are now equipped to stop being a passenger in your own career and become the architect of it. The skills that build professional success, however, are the very same skills that build personal happiness. The arenas are just different. Now that we've tackled the boardroom, it's time to head into the living room, where the stakes can feel even higher.
Chapter 7. The Heart of the Matter. Clarity in Personal Relationships. You've learned to command respect in the boardroom. You've mastered the art of negotiating your professional worth. But what happens when you come home? The people you love most, your partner, your parents, your siblings, your closest friends, are often the very people with whom it is hardest to speak your truth. The history is longer, the emotions are deeper, and the fear of loss is more profound. Losing a job is painful. Losing a loved one can feel unsurvivable. And so, we walk on eggshells. We build our prisons of silence, not out of brick and mortar, but out of love and fear. We swallow our needs to avoid a fight with our partner. We hide our true opinions to keep the peace with our parents at Thanksgiving. We let small resentments with friends pile up until the weight of them crushes the friendship. We do this because we mistakenly believe that harmony is the goal of a relationship. It is not. Harmony is a byproduct. The true goal of a healthy relationship is connection, and genuine connection cannot exist without clarity. A relationship built on silence isn't a peaceful one. It's a numb one. It's a slow-motion tragedy of 2 people growing apart in the same house. The skills you've learned in this book are not just for your career. They are the tools you will use to save your relationships, to turn resentment back into romance, and to build a love that is resilient enough to handle the truth. In this chapter, we follow 2 people, Paige and Gregory, a married couple who love each other, but are drifting apart, caught in a spiral of unspoken needs and assumptions. Scenario 1. The unspoken expectation. You should have known. Paige comes home from a grueling day at work. The house is a mess. Gregory is relaxing on the couch and nothing has been started for dinner. A wave of exhaustion and anger washes over her. The sledgehammer approach, the silent treatment, and explosion. Paige says nothing. She clatters dishes around in the kitchen, sighs heavily, and answers Gregory's questions with clipped one-word answers. When he finally asks, "What's wrong?" she explodes. "What's wrong? I work all day and come home to this mess. I have to do everything around here. You never help." Result? Gregory gets defensive, lists the things he did do, and they descend into a familiar, painful fight about who is more tired and does more work.
Paige is operating under the most destructive myth in relationships, the belief that your partner should be a mind reader. If you really loved me, you'd know what I need. This is a recipe for guaranteed disappointment. Your partner cannot know what you do not say. Let's give Paige the clarity blueprint, the heart of the matter approach, the blueprint. Paige takes a moment in her car to do 2 cycles of box breathing before coming inside. She finds Gregory on the couch and sits down with him, making eye contact. Hey, I just walked in from that really tough day at work I told you about, and I see that the house is messy and dinner isn't started. And I'm feeling completely overwhelmed and really sad. It's because after a day like today, I desperately need to feel like we are a team and that I have a partner to lean on. Would you be willing to order a pizza tonight and help me do a quick 15-minute tidy of the living room together? Look at the power of this. She hasn't accused him of being lazy. She hasn't generalized with "you never." She has connected the state of the house to her feelings of being overwhelmed and her core need for partnership. And her request is specific, reasonable, and collaborative. Gregory is no longer being attacked. He's being invited to be her hero. The most likely response to this is not defensiveness, but empathy. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was that bad a day. Of course, let's get that pizza." The conflict has been transformed into a moment of connection. Scenario 2, the difficult boundary. But we're family. Setting boundaries with family is uniquely challenging because the unspoken rule is often family gets a pass. This is especially true with parents. Gregory's mother has a habit of making critical comments about Paige's cooking whenever she comes over for dinner. Gregory sees how much it hurts Paige, but he's terrified of confronting his mom. The fear whisper is deafening. "She's your mother. You'll break her heart. She's just trying to help." The sledgehammer approach. Avoid and appease. Gregory says nothing to his mother. After she leaves, he tries to soothe Paige by saying, "That's just how she is. Don't let it get to you." Result, Paige feels completely unsupported and alone. The problem isn't just Gregory's mom anymore, it's Gregory's failure to protect their partnership. This drives a massive wedge between them. Gregory's primary duty is to the family he has created with Paige. He must protect that unit. The heart of the matter approach, the protective blueprint. Gregory knows he needs to have this conversation with his mother, but before her next visit, not in the heat of the moment. He calls her on a Tuesday afternoon. He's already done his fear-setting exercise and knows the cost of inaction is his marriage. "Hey, Mom, I've noticed that when you come over for dinner, you often make comments about Paige's cooking, like suggesting different spices or telling her how you do it. When that happens, I feel caught in the middle and really uncomfortable. It's because I need our home to be a safe and welcoming place for Paige, and I need to know that I am putting my partner first. I also value our relationship, and I want our time together to be positive. When we have you over, would you be willing to just enjoy the meal and not offer any critiques on the food?" This is terrifying for Gregory to say, but it is clear, loving, and firm. He isn't saying you're a horrible person. He's using I statements and connecting his request to his need to be a good husband and a good son. He's setting a boundary not to push his mother away, but to allow them to have a better relationship within new, healthier rules. His mother may be surprised or even a little hurt initially, but a reasonable person will understand. And if she doesn't, then the rejection is a redirection, as we learned in Chapter 3. It's painful data telling him he needs an even stronger boundary. The friendship audit from annoyance to authenticity. This isn't just for romantic partners and parents. Think of your friendships. How many of them are running on the fumes of past connection, now filled with minor but persistent annoyances? The friend who is always on their phone when you're together. The friend who only talks about themselves. The friend who consistently cancels at the last minute. Use the blueprint. A friendship that cannot withstand a single, clear, loving request is not a friendship worth keeping. To the phone-obsessed friend, "Hey, when we're at dinner and you're on your phone a lot, I feel a little disconnected. I value our catch-up time so much. Would you be willing to put our phones away just while we eat?" This is not just about solving problems. This is about building a culture of clarity in your relationships. When people know they can come to you with their truth and that you will come to them with yours, calmly, lovingly, and without accusation, you create a relationship that is virtually unbreakable. Your workshop, the relationship blueprint. Go back to your cost of silence audit. Look at the quadrants for family and relationships.
Choose the issue that causes you the most consistent, low-grade pain. Now, build the blueprint for it. Observation. What is the specific, factual behavior? Feeling. What is your honest emotion? Sad, lonely, hurt, scared? Need. What core need of yours is not being met? Connection, respect, partnership, peace. Request. What is the one specific thing you want them to do? Write it down. Rehearse it using the techniques from Chapter 5. You don't have to deliver it today. The first step is proving to yourself that a clear, loving path forward actually exists. You are learning to use your voice not as a weapon to win a fight, but as a tool to build a bridge. You are learning that the most loving thing you can do for someone is to offer them your clear, unvarnished truth. But what happens when the truth is ugly? What happens when you have to deliver bad news, or when the other person is screaming at you? In the next chapter, we enter the Crucible, the world of high-stakes conversations where everything we've learned will be put to the ultimate test. Chapter 8, The Crucible, Navigating High-Stakes Conversations. Welcome to the Crucible. A crucible is a vessel used to heat substances to extreme temperatures, burning away impurities to reveal the pure, strong element within. This chapter is your crucible. Everything we've built so far, your compass, your courage, your blueprint, will now be subjected to the intense heat of life's most feared conversations. These are the conversations that feel like walking a tightrope over a canyon. Delivering news that you know will break someone's heart, taking full responsibility for a mistake that caused serious damage, facing a person who is screaming, crying, or drowning in their own emotional storm. Your instinct here is primal. Run. Avoid it. Postpone it. Hope it goes away. But you know by now that avoidance is not a strategy. It's a sentence. The unspoken truth in these moments doesn't just fester. It becomes toxic, poisoning everything around it. To be a person of integrity, to be truly free, you must learn to walk into the fire, not away from it. The tools you have are strong enough. You are ready. Scenario 1, the clean cut. How to deliver bad news. There is nothing more agonizing than holding a truth that you know will cause someone else pain. This could be firing an employee, ending a relationship, or telling a loved one something they don't want to hear. Our cowardly instinct is to soften the blow. We talk about the weather. We make small talk. We use vague, confusing language. We rip the bandage off slowly, thinking we are being kind. This is not kind. It is cruel. It traps the other person in a state of escalating anxiety and confusion. The cardinal rule of delivering bad news is clear is kind, direct is compassionate. You must be a surgeon. The cut must be clean, swift, and precise to minimize overall suffering. Here is the three-part framework for the clean cut. The direct statement, the first 15 seconds. Do not preamble. Do not warm them up. The kindest thing you can do is get straight to the point. This honors the other person by ending their suspense. The pause. Hold the space. After you deliver the news, stop talking. This is the hardest part. You will feel an overwhelming urge to fill the silence, to justify, to over-explain. Don't. The other person needs a moment for the ground to stop shaking. Let them have their reaction. Your silence is a sign of respect for their emotional process. The path forward. The practical next step. After they've had a moment to react, you can briefly and practically state what comes next. Let's watch a manager, Daniel, use this to fire a well-liked but underperforming employee. The cowardly approach. Daniel makes small talk for 5 minutes. So, how are the kids? Good, good. Look, things have been a bit tough lately, with the budget. We've had to make some changes to the team structure and, well, your role is sort of being reevaluated. The employee is now in agony, twisting in the wind. The Crucible approach, the clean cut. Daniel asks the employee to sit down. He takes a breath, makes eye contact, and his tone is serious but humane. 1. The direct statement. Thank you for coming in.
I'm afraid I have some difficult news to share. We are eliminating your position, and today will be your last day with the company. It's brutal, but it is clear. There is no ambiguity. 2. The pause. Daniel says nothing else. He looks at the employee with empathy and waits. The employee might get angry, or cry, or be silent. Daniel simply holds the space, allowing the reaction to happen without interruption. 3. The path forward. After the initial reaction has subsided, I know this is a shock. I want you to know this was a decision based on a shift in company strategy, not a reflection on you as a person. HR has a severance package prepared for you, and they can walk you through all the details regarding your benefits and our outplacement services. I am here to answer any practical questions you might have. This is incredibly difficult, but it is a conversation handled with immense integrity and respect. The same structure works for ending a relationship. I need to be honest, this relationship is no longer working for me, and I have made the decision to end it. I want to find a time next week to sort out the logistics of moving out. It's painful, but it is kind. Scenario 2, the art of a real apology. What about when you were the one who messed up, when you broke a promise, betrayed a trust, or said something hurtful? Our ego's first line of defense is the non-apology. It's a pathetic attempt to look like you're apologizing while simultaneously avoiding all blame. It sounds like, "I'm sorry if you were offended." Blames their feelings. "I'm sorry, but you were being really difficult." Justifies your actions. "Mistakes were made." Uses passive voice to avoid ownership.
These are worse than no apology at all. A real apology is a complete surrender of the ego. It is a full acceptance of responsibility. It is not about how you feel. It is about acknowledging the impact of your actions on another person. A true, powerful apology has 3 parts. The 3R apology. Regret, state clearly and specifically what you're sorry for. Responsibility. Take 100% ownership with no excuses or blame. Remedy. State what you are going to do to repair the damage and ensure it never happens again. Let's revisit Gregory from the last chapter. Imagine he failed to speak up for Paige, and his mother's comments ruined the evening, leaving Paige devastated. Later that night, he comes to her to apologize. The non-apology. "I'm sorry you got so upset about my mom tonight. You know how she is." The Crucible approach, the 3R apology. 1. Regret. "Paige, I am so deeply sorry. I am sorry for not stepping in when my mom was criticizing your cooking tonight. And I am sorry for not supporting you when you needed me most." He names the specific actions. He owns it. 2. Responsibility. "It was my failure 100%. There is no excuse. My job was to protect you and our home, and I didn't do it. I was a coward, and I hurt you. It is completely my fault." He crushes his own ego. He doesn't say, "But it's hard to talk to my mom." He takes the full weight of it. 3. Remedy. "This will not happen again. I am going to call my mother tomorrow and set a clear boundary with her. And from now on, I promise you, I will always be your first line of defense. My loyalty is to you. What can I do right now to help you feel better?" This kind of apology has the power to heal almost any wound. It demonstrates true character and a profound commitment to the relationship. Scenario 3. Facing the storm. De-escalating an emotional person. Now for the ultimate test. What to do when someone else is in the crucible, when they are yelling, accusatory, or overcome with emotion. Your instinct is to match their energy, to yell back, to defend yourself, to argue your points. This is like throwing gasoline on a fire. When a person is highly emotional, the logical part of their brain has shut down. You cannot reason with them. Your only goal is to de-escalate. Your goal is to be the calm, steady anchor in their storm. Your primary tool here is a principle. Don't J-A-D-E. Don't justify, don't argue, don't defend, don't explain. Jading only tells the emotional person that you aren't listening. Instead, you deploy the de-escalation toolkit. Listen generously. Let them vent. Don't interrupt. Let the storm blow. Your calm, attentive presence is a powerful de-escalation tool by itself. Find the kernel of truth. In every emotional rant, there is usually at least one small thing you can agree with. Find it and validate it. Saying, "You're right, I was late," can magically diffuse an entire tirade about your general irresponsibility. Use reflective language. Show you were hearing them. "So what I'm hearing you say is you feel completely ignored and disrespected." This isn't agreement, it's confirmation that you are receiving the signal. Pivot to the future. Once the emotional energy starts to dip, you can pivot. Ask a simple question. What would you like to see happen? This shifts their brain from emotional venting to logical problem solving. Imagine a client is irate because a deadline was missed. He's yelling at you on the phone. The Jade response? "Well, it wasn't my fault. The data team was late getting me the numbers, and I had 3 other projects to deal with." The client gets even angrier. The Crucible approach. De-escalation. Client screams about the deadline. You, listening silently, taking deep breaths. You, after a pause, "You're 100% right to be angry. We missed the deadline." Finding the kernel of truth. "What I'm hearing is that this has put you in a very difficult position with your own boss." Reflective listening. "I understand completely." Validation. The client's anger will likely drop by 50%. You, "My goal right now is to fix this. What would you like to see happen to make this right?" Pivot. You have absorbed their anger without reacting, validated their feeling, and pivoted them toward a solution. You have not just saved a client, you have earned their deep respect. You have now walked through the fire. You have seen that even in the most terrifying conversations, your tools of clarity, compassion, and courage hold up. You have learned that these moments are not to be feared, but to be met with integrity. They are the moments that define your character. But a true master of communication doesn't just handle conflict well, they prevent it from ever happening. The ultimate skill is not in speaking your truth, but in creating an environment where it's safe for others to speak theirs. This requires the other half of the equation, listening. In the next chapter, we will learn the art of generous listening.
Chapter 9. The Other Half of Truth. The Art of Generous Listening. Speaking your truth is only half the battle. If you win the battle but lose the person, you haven't won at all. For the last 8 chapters, we have focused on forging and delivering your truth. You now have a powerful set of tools to articulate your needs, set boundaries, and navigate conflict. But if you only ever focus on transmitting your own signal, you become a broadcast tower, not a communicator. You'll be clear, but you'll also be lonely. Most of us don't listen. We wait. We practice what I call listening to reload. We are silent only long enough to formulate our own rebuttal, our own brilliant point, our own story that is way better than the one they're telling. We hear words, but we don't seek meaning. This is selfish listening. It is the default mode for most of the human race. To truly destroy problems at their root, you must master the other half of the equation. You must learn the art of generous listening. Generous listening is not a passive activity. It is not simply keeping your mouth shut. It is an active, focused, and creative act of exploration. It is the genuine, curious quest to understand another person's reality. When you offer this gift to someone, you do more than solve a problem. You create the kind of psychological safety where problems can no longer thrive. You become a person people trust, confide in, and want to collaborate with. The prime directive: understand before you respond. Before we get into techniques, we need a philosophical shift. The goal of generous listening is not to agree.
The goal is to understand. You must be able to say with total integrity, I understand exactly why you feel the way you do, even if you completely disagree with their position. This is a superpower. It allows you to validate someone's emotional experience without surrendering your own values or position. It is the foundation of all empathy. When a person feels truly understood, their defensiveness melts away, and they become open to hearing your perspective. Here are the 4 essential practices of a generous listener. Practice 1. The sacred pause. The simplest and most powerful listening tool is one you already know. The pause. When someone finishes speaking, especially if they've shared something vulnerable or emotional, resist your instinct to immediately jump in. Wait. Take a full, silent breath. This sacred pause does 2 miraculous things.
First, it communicates deep respect. It tells the other person, I am not just waiting to talk, I am absorbing the weight of what you just said. Second, it often coaxes out the real truth. People rarely lead with their most important point. That extra moment of silence gives them the space to add the crucial afterthought, the thing they were almost too scared to say. And another thing often follows a sacred pause. Practice 2, the drill-down question. A generous listener is a curious detective. They don't just accept surface-level statements, they gently dig for the truth beneath the truth. They use clarifying open-ended questions to help the speaker better understand their own feelings. Avoid the aggressive one-word question, why, which can feel like an interrogation. Instead, use softer, more inviting prompts. Tell me more about that. What did that look like from your perspective? How did that feel for you in that moment? When you say their word, what does that mean to you? Imagine your partner says, I'm just so stressed about work. Selfish listener, yeah, me too. My week was insane. Immediately makes it about them. Generous listener, pauses. Stressful how? Tell me more about what's going on. You are not just listening, you are helping them unpack their own heart. You are a collaborator in their clarity. Practice 3, the reflective loop. This is the technique that makes people feel more heard than any other. The reflective loop is the simple act of paraphrasing the other person's message back to them for confirmation. It is a verbal proof of listening. The formula is straightforward. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you feel X because Y happened. Is that right? Let's go back to Paige and Gregory from Chapter 7. Imagine Gregory uses this tool when Paige comes home, upset. She says, I'm just so overwhelmed, it feels like I have to do everything. Gregory, okay, let me make sure I'm getting this. It sounds like you're feeling completely overwhelmed because when you walked in and saw the state of the house, it felt like all the responsibility was on you. Is that right? Hearing his own feelings and reality mirrored back to him so accurately is an incredibly validating experience for Paige. She feels a wave of relief. She thinks, he gets it. Only after she confirms with a yes, exactly, can Gregory move on to problem solving. You must get the yes before you can proceed.
This single skill can prevent 90% of all relationship misunderstandings. Practice 4. Listen for the need beneath the noise. This is the most advanced listening skill. In Chapter 2, you learn to identify your own core needs. Now you will learn to hear the needs of others, even when they are hidden beneath a storm of angry, messy, or irrational words. When people are upset, they rarely communicate their need clearly. They communicate their pain. Your job as a generous listener is to translate their pain into a need. When your boss is yelling, "This report is unacceptable," the noise is anger, criticism. The need beneath, I need to feel competent and in control. I need to trust my team so I don't look bad to my own superiors. When your teenager slams the door and shouts, "You just want to control my life," the noise is defiance, accusation. The need beneath, I need to feel independent and respected as my own person.
When a friend complains endlessly about their problems without asking about you, the noise is self-absorption. The need beneath, I need to be seen and heard because I feel invisible right now. When you can hear the unspoken need, you stop reacting to the noisy, often hurtful surface-level words. You can respond directly to the real issue. To the angry boss, you can say, "You need to know you can trust the work coming from our team. Let's talk about how I can restore that trust." This is a game-changing shift. Workshop, the 5-minute listening challenge. This exercise seems simple, but it is profoundly difficult and eye-opening. You will need a partner, a spouse, a friend, a roommate. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Person A's job, talk about something that is on your mind. A problem at work, a worry, a frustration, anything. Person B's job, the listener, you have one job: to listen generously. You are forbidden from doing the following: giving advice, sharing a similar story about yourself, trying to fix it, judging or disagreeing. Your only tools are the sacred pause, drill-down questions, and the reflective loop. Your only goal is to understand Person A's world as deeply as possible in 5 minutes. When the timer goes off, stop. Take 1 minute to discuss how it felt for both of you. How did it feel for Person A to be truly heard? How difficult was it for Person B to just listen? Now, switch roles and repeat. Completing this challenge will show you on a gut level the immense power of this skill.
You will feel the relief of being truly heard and the intense discipline it takes to be a truly generous listener. When you master this, you transform. You are no longer just a person with a clear voice. You are a psychological safe zone. You are the person people come to when they have a problem, not because you have all the answers, but because you can help them find their own. You've learned to speak with clarity and listen with generosity. You can solve problems and you can prevent them. But there is one final level. How do you move beyond solving problems and start inspiring change? How do you wrap your truth in a package so compelling that it moves people from passive agreement to passionate action? In the next chapter, we will learn the art of story. We will turn your clear truth into a compelling one.
Chapter 10. From Clear to Compelling, the Power of Story and Persuasion. Clarity gets you understood. Generous listening gets you trusted. But what gets you a yes? What moves a person, a team, or an entire room from passive agreement to active, passionate commitment? The answer is as old as humanity itself: story. Your Clarity Blueprint is a powerful tool for one-on-one problem solving. It's logical, clean, and rational. But logic doesn't start a movement. Data doesn't inspire change. A spreadsheet has never convinced a team to work through the weekend to meet an impossible deadline. Humans are not creatures of logic. We are creatures of emotion. And the most powerful technology ever invented for transmitting emotion is a well-told story. When you can wrap your clear truth in the emotional container of a story, you move beyond mere communication. You achieve persuasion. You create influence. A story bypasses the skeptical, analytical part of the brain and speaks directly to the heart. It allows your listener to feel the truth of your message, not just understand it intellectually. The person who can tell the most compelling story is the person who wins. The leader who gets the promotion, the entrepreneur who gets the funding, the community organizer who gets the votes. You might think, I'm not a storyteller. I'm an accountant, engineer, or manager. This is a limiting belief. Storytelling is not a mystical gift. It is a simple, learnable structure. And you don't need a grand, epic tale. The most powerful stories are often small, personal, and universally relatable. The 3-act structure of influence. Every compelling story ever told, from the Odyssey to your favorite Super Bowl commercial, follows a basic 3-part structure. Once you see it, you'll see it everywhere. This is the framework you will use to make your ideas unforgettable. The struggle, the before.
Every story begins with a relatable character and a relatable state of imbalance or frustration. There is a problem, a dragon to be slain, a challenge to be overcome. This is where you connect with your audience by showing them you understand their pain. The discovery, the aha moment. The character tries to solve the problem, maybe fails a few times, and then has a moment of insight. They discover a new tool, a new perspective, a new way of doing things. This is the turning point, the core of your message. The solution, the after. The character applies their discovery and it leads to a better future. The problem is solved, the dragon is slain, and the world is transformed for the better. This is where you paint a vivid picture of the positive outcome you are offering. Let's see this in action. We'll follow Winston, a community organizer we met in the outline, who wants to convince his town council to fund a new park in a neglected neighborhood. The logical approach, clear but boring. Good evening. I am here to propose the allocation of $50,000 to develop the vacant lot on Elm Street. A park would increase property values by an estimated 5%. And provide recreational space, which correlates with a 10% decrease in juvenile delinquency, according to a study by the National Parks Association. The council members are nodding, but they're also checking their phones. The data is correct, but it has no soul. The storytelling approach, clear and compelling. 1. The struggle. Good evening. I want you to meet a boy named Leo. He's 10 years old and lives on Elm Street. After school, Leo and his friends have two choices: play video games inside or play in the street dodging cars. Last month, Leo's best friend scraped his knee badly, trying to jump a curb to get out of the way of a speeding truck. Leo's mom told me she lives in constant fear, stuck between wanting her son to get fresh air and wanting to keep him safe. That vacant lot on their street, filled with broken glass and weeds, isn't a playground. It's a daily reminder to those kids and to parents like Leo's mom that their neighborhood has been forgotten. Now, the council isn't just hearing data. They are seeing a boy's scraped knee. They are feeling a mother's fear. The problem is no longer an abstract budget line. It is personal and emotional. 2. The discovery. Last year, I visited a town in the next state. A town that a lot like ours that had a similar problem. They didn't have a lot of money, but they had an idea. They realized the town didn't have to build the park for the community, they could build it with the community. They provided the basic materials, and the residents, carpenters, gardeners, parents, volunteered their weekends. It became more than a project, it became a source of incredible neighborhood pride. He has introduced the aha moment, a new collaborative way of thinking about the problem. It's no longer just a cost, it's an investment in community itself. The solution. I want you to imagine what that vacant lot on Elm Street could look like a year from now. Picture Leo and his friends playing safely on a green lawn. Picture the parents sitting on benches, talking, building friendships. Picture a community garden in the corner where neighbors are sharing vegetables and stories. The $50,000 we're asking for isn't just for grass seed and a swing set. It's a seed investment in a safer, healthier, more connected community. It's our chance to tell Leo and every other kid on that street that they have not been forgotten. Which version do you think gets the park built? The second one every time. Winston took a dry policy proposal and transformed it into a powerful emotional journey. He made the council members the heroes of the story, giving them a chance to rescue Leo and his mom. Finding your stories. You have more stories than you think. Your life and work are full of them. You just need to learn how to spot them. Here are 3 places to look for stories you can use to persuade and influence. The I story, personal experience. This is a story about your own journey with a problem. Example, when pitching a new, simpler software to your team, tell the story of the weekend you wasted trying to learn the old, complicated system, the struggle, the moment you realized there had to be a better way, the discovery, and how this new tool would have saved you 20 hours, the solution. The we story, collective experience. This is a story about a collective struggle that everyone in the room has faced. Example, when arguing for a 4-day work week, start by telling the universal story of the Sunday scaries, that feeling of dread that creeps in on Sunday evening, the struggle, the discovery that other companies have eliminated this by shifting their schedules, the discovery, and the vision of a team that comes in on Monday morning recharged and excited, the solution. The they story, third-party experience. This is a story about another person, like Winston's story about Leo, a customer, a client, a person you read about. This is powerful because it takes the focus off you and puts it onto the person you are trying to serve. Workshop, the story extractor. Think of a change you want to make, an idea you need to sell, or a point you need to prove in your work or personal life. It could be convincing your boss to adopt a new strategy, persuading your partner to go on a specific vacation, or getting your team to embrace a new project. Now, sketch out the 3-act story for it. Don't worry about making it perfect, just get the bones down. The struggle. Who is the character? What is their pain, frustration, or problem? Make it specific and relatable. The discovery. What was the turning point? What new idea, tool, or insight changed everything? The solution. What does the happy ending look like? Paint a vivid picture of the positive future your idea will create. Once you have mastered the clarity blueprint for one-on-one problem solving and the 3-act structure for one-to-many persuasion, you have become a remarkably powerful communicator. You can handle conflict with grace and inspire action with passion. But there is one final, crucial piece of the puzzle. What happens when you start to live this way? When you become the person who speaks their truth clearly and compellingly? The world, which was comfortable with your silence, will not always be happy. It will push back. In our next chapter, we will forge your armor. We will prepare you for the resistance, the criticism, and the pushback, ensuring you can hold your ground and never retreat into the silent prison again. Chapter 11. When the world pushes back. Handling negative reactions. You've done it. You've found your compass, tamed your fear, and mastered the blueprint. You've started speaking your truth. You set a boundary with your mother. You asked for that raise. You shared a compelling vision in a meeting. It feels incredible. You feel taller, clearer, more alive. And then, the world pushes back. Your mother bursts into tears and says, "I can't believe how selfish you've become." Your friend, who you've gently confronted about being late, scoffs and says, "Wow, relax, it's not a big deal. You're being so dramatic." A colleague whose flawed idea you challenged with a better one now treats you with a cold hostility in the hallways. This is the moment of truth. This is when the old you, the silent, accommodating, people-pleasing you, will scream to be let back in. The fear will rush back, and the whisper will be louder than ever. "See? I told you this was a bad idea. Just apologize, smooth it over, go back to being quiet. It was safer there." This chapter is your defense. It is your armor. You must understand that this pushback is not a sign that you did something wrong. It is a sign that you did something right. You have changed the rules of engagement, and the people who benefited from the old rules are now feeling uncomfortable. Your growth is disrupting their equilibrium. Their reaction is not about you. It's about their own fear and their loss of control over the old dynamic. To hold your ground and protect your newfound integrity, you must learn to identify and calmly neutralize the 3 most common forms of pushback. The guilt trip, weaponized emotion. This is the preferred tactic of close family and friends. The guilt trip is an attempt to use your own compassion against you. It frames your reasonable boundary as a cruel act of aggression. It sounds like, "After all I've done for you, this is how you treat me? You're breaking my heart. I guess my feelings just don't matter to you." The old you would have never said that. The goal is to make you feel so ashamed and selfish that you immediately retract your boundary and apologize for having a need in the first place. Your defense? The acknowledge and restate maneuver.
You do not have to defend your character. You do not have to argue. You must simply acknowledge their feeling while calmly restating your boundary.
The formula. I understand you feel, their stated emotion, and it's not my intention to hurt you. This is about what I need, and my boundary still stands. Let's see it in action. You've told your father you won't be able to loan him money again, as it puts you in a difficult financial position. Your father, guilt trip, I can't believe this. After all the years I supported you, you won't help your own father out. The old you, caving, you're right, I'm so sorry, of course I'll help. The new you, acknowledge and restate. Dad, I understand you feel hurt and disappointed, and I love you very much. This isn't about my love for you. This is about me needing to maintain my own financial stability. I can't loan you the money. Notice you are not a robot. You can be warm and loving. You acknowledge his pain. I understand you feel hurt, but you hold the line. You separate his feeling from your boundary. His feeling is his to manage. Your boundary is yours to protect. 2. The gaslight, the attack on your sanity. Gaslighting is a subtle and insidious form of manipulation. It's an attempt to make you doubt your own perceptions, your memory, and your sanity. It's a way of saying, the problem isn't my behavior, the problem is your crazy interpretation of it. It sounds like, I never said that, you're remembering it wrong. You're being way too sensitive. You're making a big deal out of nothing. That was just a joke. You have no sense of humor. The goal, to destabilize you so much that you lose faith in your own truth. If you believe you're the crazy one, you'll drop the issue and accept their version of reality. Your defense is the my reality anchor. You cannot win a debate about what really happened. The gaslighter will deny and twist forever. Your only defense is to anchor yourself firmly in your own subjective experience. It is unshakable ground because no one can tell you how you feel or what you experienced. The formula. We may remember the event differently, but what I know for sure is how it impacted me. When the observation, I felt, you're feeling. Let's go back to Paige and Gregory. Imagine Gregory confronts a friend, Nathan, about a cutting remark he made about Paige at a party. Nathan, dude, what are you talking about? It was a joke. God, you and Paige are so sensitive these days. I never even said that.
The old Gregory, confused and second-guessing. Oh, well, maybe I misheard. The new Gregory, my reality anchor. Nathan, we can argue all day about your exact words or your intention. But here's what I know for sure. My wife was hurt by it, and I felt disrespected. That's my reality. And what I need going forward is for you to speak about my wife with respect. He refuses to get dragged into an argument about the facts. He anchors the entire conversation to the one thing Nathan cannot dispute, his own experience and his wife's feelings. It ends the debate and recenters the conversation on the boundary. Number 3, the dismissal, the belittling attack. When a person can't win on the substance of your argument, they will often attack the speaker. The dismissal is an attempt to shrink you, to make you and your concerns feel small, trivial, and unworthy of serious consideration. It sounds like, "Are you serious right now?" said with a condescending laugh. "Okay, whatever," followed by an eye roll. "You're being really dramatic, emotional, or bossy. Calm down, it's not that important." The goal is to shame you into silence by implying that your concern is illegitimate and that you are foolish for even bringing it up. Your defense? The amplify and hold technique. You must meet their attempt to shrink you with a calm expansion. You will not get angry, but you will amplify the seriousness of your point and hold your ground without flinching. The formula? Yes, I am serious. This is important to me, and I need you to hear me on this. Let's say a colleague, Brooke, used her voice to point out a major flaw in a project plan. Her peer, Austin, who feels threatened, tries to dismiss her. Austin, "Brooke, calm down. It's just a draft. We don't need to get all worked up about it."
The old Brooke, oh, okay, sorry. The new Brooke, amplify and hold. She maintains steady eye contact and does not raise her voice. Austin, I am calm, and yes, this is important. This flaw could cost us the entire project timeline. I need us to address it seriously before we move forward. She refuses to be belittled. She meets her condescension with calm, unwavering seriousness. She borrows his own word, important, and uses it as a shield. She doesn't attack him back. She simply refuses to be shrunk. She holds the frame of the conversation. Surviving the pushback is the final exam.
When you face these reactions, it will feel personal. It will hurt. But remember, this is the final exam of your transformation. Every time you successfully hold a boundary against a guilt trip, anchor yourself against a gaslight, or stand tall against the dismissal, you are casting a vote for the new you. You are rewiring your brain. You are teaching yourself on a cellular level that your truth is valid and your needs matter even when the world disagrees. The pushback will be fierce at first, but it will fade. People in your life will begin to realize that the new rules are here to stay. They will either learn to respect them or they will slowly drift out of your life. Which is not a tragedy, but a healthy and necessary clearing of space for people who can respect the clear, confident, and whole person you have become. You have learned to speak, to listen, to persuade, and now to defend. You have all the tools. There is only one thing left to do. Integrate this into a way of life. In our final chapter, we will bring it all together and look at the profound peace that comes from living a life of total integrity.
Chapter 12. The Clear Life. Living in a State of Personal Integrity. Think back to the person who first picked up this book. Remember the knot in your stomach, the feeling of powerlessness in that meeting, the simmering resentment in that relationship, the quiet desperation of being unheard and unseen. Remember the prison of silence. The walls felt solid then. The cost of speaking up seemed impossibly high. Look at yourself now. You are not the same person. You have journeyed inward to forge a compass from your deepest values. You have faced the dragon of fear and learned to tame it. You have been armed with a blueprint for clarity, a mastery of your own unspoken truth, and the fire of compelling story. You have walked through the crucible of high-stakes conversations and learned to stand your ground with grace and strength when the world pushed back. The prison walls are gone, not because they were torn down from the outside, but because you realized they were an illusion all along. You held the key the entire time. That key was your voice. This final chapter is not about learning a new skill. It is about celebrating a new state of being. The goal of this book was never to just give you a series of communication hacks to be deployed in emergencies. The ultimate goal was to help you achieve a state of personal integrity. Personal integrity is the final destruction of every problem in your life. It is the peace that comes when your inner world and your outer world are in perfect alignment. It's when what you believe, what you say, and what you do are all one and the same. There are no gaps. There is no friction. There is just a clear, congruent, and powerful signal of who you are. This is the clear life. The architecture of the clear life. What does it actually feel like to live this way? It manifests in three profound, life-altering ways. 1. The end of resentment. Resentment is the poison we drink hoping the other person will die. It's the heavy, corrosive baggage of 1,000 unspoken truths. It's the weight of every time you said, "It's fine," when it wasn't. Every time you swallowed a boundary. Every time you did something you didn't want to do just to keep the peace. In the clear life, resentment cannot find fertile ground. Because when a situation arises that could breed resentment, a friend being late, a partner being thoughtless, a boss being unfair, you no longer let it fester. You address it. You use the blueprint.
You have the small, uncomfortable 5-minute conversation now, so you don't have to carry the heavy weight of bitterness for the next 5 years. Your emotional landscape becomes lighter. You are no longer a walking archive of past grievances. You deal with issues as they arise, cleanly and clearly, and then you let them go. The energy you used to spend stewing and replaying angry conversations in your head is now freed up for more creative and joyful pursuits. 2. The emergence of authentic confidence. There are 2 types of confidence. The first is brittle and loud, the fake-it-till-you-make-it kind that relies on bravado and external validation. It's a mask. The second type is what you now have, authentic confidence. This confidence is quiet, calm, and unshakable. It does not come from believing you are always right, or that you will always win. It comes from the profound internal knowledge that you will always be true to yourself. It is the confidence of knowing that no matter the situation, you have the tools to handle it. You can walk into any room, a boardroom, a family reunion, a parent-teacher conference, and know that you can express yourself with clarity and stand up for your values with integrity. You no longer fear the unknown because you have a deep and abiding trust in yourself. This is a confidence that no one can give you, and more importantly, no one can ever take away. 3. The deepening of true connection. Perhaps the most beautiful paradox of this journey is that by focusing on your own truth, you create deeper, more meaningful connections with others. The relationships built on your silence were fragile. They were transactional, based on an unspoken agreement where you suppressed your needs in exchange for a shallow harmony. Your new relationships and the renewed versions of your old ones are forged in the fires of honesty. They are built on the bedrock of real, authentic communication. When you trust someone enough to share your clear truth, and they trust you enough to receive it and to share their own, you create a bond of incredible strength and intimacy. You stop trying to be the person you think others want you to be, and you start attracting people who love and respect the person you actually are. The quality of your relationships skyrockets, the shallow connections fall away, and the deep ones become unbreakable. Your work is not over. It has just begun. This book is not a destination. It is a map you will use for the rest of your life. There will be days when you get it wrong. You'll get scared and fall back into silence. You'll lose your temper and use the sledgehammer instead of the scalpel. You will be imperfect. That is okay. The goal is not perfection. It is practice. When you falter, you will not despair. You will simply open the book again. You will review the blueprint. You will do a fear-setting exercise. You will apologize with the 3 R's. You will see it, not as a failure, but as an opportunity to practice again. This is a lifelong commitment to clarity. I want you to go back one last time to that piece of paper from Chapter 1, your cost of silence audit. Look at the problems you wrote down in those 4 quadrants. Read them again. Do they still seem as terrifying, as insurmountable, or do you now see them for what they are? Simply a series of conversations you haven't had yet. You have the tools. You have the courage. You have the voice. The person who sat down in that silent conference room, paralyzed by fear and regret, is a ghost. The person sitting here now, reading these final words, is the architect of their own reality. Your life is a story. For too long, you have let others hold the pen. Now, you hold it. The pages are blank. The future is unwritten. Go, speak your truth clearly, and destroy every problem in your life.